When I read it or stories like it, these are the things I feel, and yes, I know feelings are the domain of a woman. When I hear a woman tell me that she's gone through a dry spell and not had sex in over X weeks/months, I feel like putting my fist through her face. When I hear a woman tell me that she feels ugly or unloved or unwanted because her partner hasn't touched her in over 6 months, I feel like laughing loudly 3 inches from her face. When I hear a woman tell me that she just picked up a random guy for a night of fun because she was lonely, I feel like I'm glad I don't own a gun. When I hear a woman tell me that I shouldn't feel bad about having gone without for so long, after all, it's only just sex, I feel like disfiguring her face with a scalpel. Nature's cruel joke and cosmic irony in one. I, as a man, biologically driven 365 days a year to ejaculate and produce sperm as often as possible, and having the drive and desire to want it every waning moment, who is vilified for this natural urge and made to feel ashamed of my sexuality, control it and subdue it to conform to the feminine imperative, having to listen to women who in their solipsism cannot fathom the ordeal of what I'm about to write about. Women who biologically ovulate and desire sex rather infrequently compared to men, talk about, no, celebrate their sexuality, their urges and desires, and lament their short dry spells as if the world were coming to an end. They can never understand what a power differential there is in these urges. Women can say they love sex just as much as men. I would call BS. Until there is a glut of male prostitutes, male escorts, male rub and tugs for female patrons, a demand for male sex workers and strippers, I'll say nay. Unless they're all having alpha sex on the side perhaps, or will touch themselves at 50 Shades Surface, or at least mommy porn is culturally acceptable. Women do not need to sex like men do, otherwise the sphere would not exist. Anyways, back to my pitiful former life. I have no pictures of myself from a time period stretching from high school to my late 20s, save for some randoms others might have taken of me. I have no memories or recollections of my time in high school. I have no stories of parties, girlfriends, or wild flings. It's a time period I wiped from my mind, much like PTSD. The only way I can recall it is if I sit down and think really hard about it. I rarely do because I don't like feeling like shit for the hell of it. I was that beta, omega, zeta. I let myself get LJBF'd on multiple occasions, being that nice guy that male-hating cunt Amanda Marcotte despises. I played by the rules as handed down to me by the feminine authorities on what women would look for and appreciate in a man. I was asked to believe what they said, not what they did. Just be yourself. Your nice beta supplicating self was the golden code. So here it is, my incel hell. Living by the feminist code earned me 12 years of hell. Let that number sink in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, that went by too fast. Try it this way. 365 plus 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 365. 4,380 days, give or take. 4,380 days without being validated as a sexual being. 4,380 days without physical human contact or touch. 4,380 days of isolation and loneliness. 4,380 days of silent suffering and silently screaming at mirrors. 4,380 days of crippling ridicule and self-confidence destruction by my peers. 4,380 days during in what should have been the best years and height of my sexual primacy. Give or take. Gone. From the audacious amateur blogger in her post about a sex hiatus. Sex is P and VG, but it's also human and human. Even if it's just for a night, it lets you feel you're not alone in the world. You shared a biological imperative with someone. You experienced their pleasure with your own. She also captures the very essence of my whole diatribe in this little bit in her post about 1 year's worth of life changes. 6. No one has held me, touched me, hugged me in such a long time. Humans need physical contact. I don't feel human. Human to human. I don't feel human. I can only imagine what a productive member of civilization I would be if I was brought up with masculine values and was sexually sated. Instead, I spent my life living out the following tale, trying to figure out what my problem was and living as manic, bipolar depressive. Instead, here I sit, a MGTOW, never finding enough reasons or desire to become productive beyond my own means. From the age of 18 to 29, I traveled a road that led me to believe I wasn't human, wasn't worthy of love, wasn't deserving of companionship, and that I would probably be better off dead. I lost my virginity at late 17 to a girl, and our relationship lasted for just over 5 months. When I ended it, I fell into a deep depression. What I should have been told at that moment was to identify what was it about me that made me lack confidence, to fix it, and to head back out into the world, to listen to the guys who were #winning. Instead, I followed my feminist programming and female advice off a cliff into hell. Feminism taught me a lot throughout the 80s and 90s. It taught me not to question women's sexual choices. It taught me to treat them with deference and respect. It taught me not to accost them for sex aggressively, but to treat them as human beings. It taught me that I must control my shallow, greedy, dangerous impulses but allow a woman the right to indulge in hers. It taught me to be nice for the sake of being nice and not expecting sex in return. To give all my emotional and platonic ability and not dare ask for intimacy in return. It taught me everything I needed to be creepy, unattractive, and doormat ready. And it was reinforced by every woman I talked to. What I should have been told is hit the gym, build some muscle, guys with muscles are hot. Get braces now, you'll smile a lot and we love guys with big smiles. Go see a dermatologist, we love sexy skin on a man. Cut off your long hair, you don't look like a rocker, you look like a hippie. Crew cuts are sexy, you'd look good in one. Learn a skill and become good in it. Become confident in it. We love confidence. What I got instead was a constant drumming of, "You're such a good guy. Just wait. Someone else is out there for you. You don't have to change a thing. You're a wonderful person. Just keep being yourself. You don't need muscles. Only jerks care about having big muscles. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to be a bit more confident, that's all." Confidence comes from the inside, not from the outside. Patent fucking lies, all of them. My issue was I was always believed I was not handsome, rugged, or built well enough to attract initial attention. I had poor self-image. All the advice to the contrary, telling me I was okay as I was, allowed me to abdicate my responsibility to start working on that issue. It led me to believe people should like me for who I am, not what my exterior presents. My first cross to bear. Instead of working to fix my skin-deep issues and develop a greater sense of self-worth, I continued listening to that advice to find one who would appreciate me for my nice qualities instead. This further perpetuated the vicious circle of being constantly friend-zoned or rejected outright by women. Being myself was supposed to work, but bad boys were winning the day. Instead of reading it properly and abandoning the beta to become the badass, I doubled down and started hating bad boys and believed that women were just being misguided, but they would eventually turn around and come to love the greater qualities of love, nurturing, compassion, and empathy I had massive stockpiles and reserves of. I shoved all my chips to the center of the table, all in, and became a huge white knight mangina. I got to have the pleasure of defending women from the barbs and negs of my player friends, only to watch the same women I defended end up going home to sleep with them. My brain simply could not comprehend what the fuck was going on. What the fuck is wrong with these women? Oh wait, I'm not allowed to question that. One of the final straws was me being struck in an LJBF with a person whom I had mad feelings for. One day I confessed to her how I felt and told her the pain was just too great for me to bear and I needed a yes or no answer. She only wanted to be my friend. I said, "You are going to lose that friendship. Why not take the chance and give it a try?" She said no and ended that friendship rather than try a relationship with a really wonderful and caring guy. Her words. 2 weeks later, she was fucking a player asshole narcissist dick in a NSA relationship. That dick was my former friend who knew how badly I wanted to be with her. He never missed an opportunity to rub it in my face how lovely her back looked. I guess she enjoyed doggy style. She chose to fuck someone who cared not one bit for her and only used her for her vagina instead of someone who loved her. But it was okay because she was only looking for fun and not a relationship. My world shattered. You can only go so long getting knocked down before you decide that it might be best to stay down. The litany of thoughts raging through my head were endless. No one will ever love me. Even the ones who like you don't want you. What chance do you have with those who don't know you? No woman wants anything to do with me sexually. There must be something horribly wrong with me. I must be a hideous, grotesque abomination. I will never feel the warmth of a woman's skin. No one will ever yearn or desire me. I will never look into a woman's eyes as she drew me into her. I would never caress a woman's face. Never again would I know what a passionate kiss felt like. Never again would I be validated as a sexual human being. I don't deserve to love. I don't deserve to go on. I don't deserve to live. Life will go on without me. No one will really miss me, maybe. Even if they do, no one cared enough when it mattered. How long would I need to run the car in my garage before I pass out? Turn the key, you coward. Mom will find my body in the garage. She will understand. She knows you've been suffering. I might chicken out. I can't do it this way. Where can I get a gun? I can't get one, but a pellet gun looks real. Maybe I can stage a bank heist, take hostages, wait for the cops and force them to do it. Death by cop. I hope it doesn't hurt too much when I die. This isn't hyperbole. I lived those scenarios out in my mind numerous times. For all intents and purposes, I was an evolutionary failure. With so much fail, my body began to realize it was not going to fulfill its primary biological function of reproduction and had begun to contemplate ways of me to expedite my removal from the gene pool. Death felt like my only answer. I don't think many females on this planet can contemplate or wrap their head around the gravity of this. I, and most men, cannot just walk into a bar, bat our eyelashes, and get sexual validation on a moment's notice for a quick pick-me-up. It's not just about sex. Well, for me anyways. It's about the connection sex implies, of being wanted, desired, to be loved both mentally and physically, to be validated, to share, to connect, feel alive, be human. Or maybe I just view sex differently than your average slut if they only view it as just sex. Lately, I've gotten the sense that a majority of men, read Beta Delta Omega, place more emotional ties to sex than women, and I've read a lot about how men are the more romantic sex, which is so far removed from the script I grew up hearing that men are primal pigs and women want loving, nurturing sex and commitment. But I always have to go back to Badger's mind-blowing comment he made here some time ago. And women never seem to understand that sexual access is the highest, most direct assignment of value they can give a man. They think they are complimenting men when they tell them, "You're a great guy and you'll make some woman really lucky someday." Those bad boys I sleep with are just short-term flings. I'm not serious about them. F that noise. It also puts the lie to the conventional wisdom that sex is really deep and important to women, and they won't give it away except to a guy they think is a really good match. Suffice it to say, somehow I held on, but I lost a huge part of my soul in the process and have been forever damaged by it. This isn't something you ever recover from. You only bury it and keep piling more dirt over it, hoping to level out the massive bump, but it's always there. Misogyny. It doesn't appear out of thin air. Here's the kicker. Every motherfucking time I could have taken corrective action, I was lame to. Each time my buddies told me that I had become an asshole, their way of saying don't listen to what a woman wants, do what they go for. I was once again led astray by a woman, by my mother, by my teachers, bad magazine articles, by other girls I asked advice for, by Oprah, by my friend zone crush and object of my desire, and yes, by my marriage counselor. Unequivocally, I can still remember getting mad enough after a while that I started acting like a dick. After all, what I was previously doing wasn't working. Try something new, right? And what did the girl I crushed on tell me when she didn't like my new attitude? You don't want to become an asshole like that. I know you too well. Don't change. You're such a nice person inside. Don't ruin yourself. That line reverberated in my head every time I knew my asshole friend was at her place fucking her like an animal. Hence, all the things I feel at the start of this post, it's visceral. I can't control it. It's a part of me now. I can only manage it. But to each one of those women who I used in the above things I feel section, it is my firm belief that you simply have no clue what loneliness is unless you've contemplated what gunmetal tastes like as it rubs against your tongue, pressing into the roof of your mouth. If you truly believe that after 2 weeks, 3 months, a year of not having physical relations with the opposite sex is true suffering, I ask if you felt your life was in danger. If not, you're not suffering enough. If so, try it for 12 years and get back to me. I, as a man, am programmed to want it almost every day, vilified for wanting it, and taught to be shameful of it, and to conform to a certain way of thinking to acquire it. Women who desire it, mainly during ovulation, control the access of it and demand a resource extraction for it. Freely cough it up, want only when the mood strikes, not for mating, but for fun, to embrace it, to explore it, enjoy it, and with those more often than not, least worthy of it in terms of commitment of sticking around if pregnancy ensues. This post makes me angry. It makes me feel a lot of things. Hurt, shame, a sense of loss, imprisoned in time. Time I'll never get back. It would have been better if I lost 12 years doing hard time in prison. At least I'd have an excuse. At least I'd have some bad boy cred. Maybe even a tattoo. In fact, you could call this my own personal rape. I'm sure women will be up in arms for me calling it that, but what is the criteria for it? I feel shame. I am unable to talk about it with others. I will invariably be blamed for the outcome I suffered because of the way I acted. Being beta was wearing a miniskirt. Acting like a nice guy was being overly flirtatious. Respecting women and pedestalizing them was going up to a guy's room at 2 a.m. for a late night coffee. I deserved it for being unattractive. You deserved it for being too attractive. We both got fucked and not in the way we wanted it. You had no power and had violation inflicted upon you. I had no power or right to feel like a human being inflicted upon me. You were penetrated against your will. Feminism and women bent me over and fucked me up the ass while laughing at me. We both wanted death, yet I was a source of ridicule. You are the poster child of slutwalk. And so it is. But you can't go back. You can only move forward and try to make the best of the time you got left. I do my best to leave it in the past, as these feelings will not help me move forward in life or allow me to be happy. But the bitterness of having been put on that path that scarred me forever by a bunch of lying, misguided, nonsensical, feminist talking points about men being more in touch with their feelings and women preferring nice qualities over brutish, decisive, dominant behavior. Well, I don't think it will ever fade with time. I paid a heavy price for believing it. A dry spell ends. I was at a nightclub celebrating the 30th birthday of my now ex-wife. I was 29. I really hated clubs. The atmosphere, the pretension, the obnoxious, ego-inflated women, overpriced alcohol, etc. So I cut out of the party early and grabbed a taxi. I was in such a foul mood for having been there and just feeling miserable. So I told the cabbie to go to the strip club I was familiar with. Inside, I watched a sweet, thin, polished girl dancing, so I went to Perv Row. Since I was so angry at the world inside, I must have subdued my nice guy really well, because I went full dark triad on this girl, and I had no clue that that term existed at the time. Finally, I took her to the back for a quick dance. I told her she was beautiful and she blushed. I asked her if she had a boyfriend and she said yes. I don't know why, but then I asked her if she was pissed off at him. I had no real reason to ask, I just did. She quickly opened up and said yes, and started explaining why, all the while I'm touching her in all the right places. So I tell her, why don't we go back to your place and give him something to really be pissed about? I guess my hands were doing the trick because she reached down and felt up my dick and said, I'm going to tell the DJ I'm ending early. Meet me in the lot in 15 minutes. I didn't even pay for the dance. That night I discovered something. That 12 years of watching good quality Euro porn helps you understand where and how to touch a woman in just the right places. The one thing I was terrified of was how long I'd last, and amazingly enough, not only did I go all night and give her 2 big O's, I actually had to fake my orgasm. I could have kept going. I couldn't explain it, and I didn't care to. My confidence level was shot up to over 9,000. Confidence doesn't come from inside as I had been lain to over the years. It grows over time through external validations of success. If you repeat the success, you will become more confident. Fail enough times and the confidence suffers. Just be confident, they said. Fucking idiots. Nailing this stripper and nailing her like a boss did the trick. Over the course of the next year, I would bang 3 more strippers, getting into a casual with 2 of them for a time. I even fucked one inside the club. And let me tell you, the bouncer was a scary guy, so I was playing with fire, but damn, what a thrill. I'll never forget how wide-eyed that cute Puerto Rican girl got when I eviscerated her butt-ugly girlfriend right in front of her when she called me gay or something, when I refused to go for a dance with her entitled ass. Soon as the ugly one was gone, Latina Heat dragged me into the VIP. 1 condom, $0, 1 sweet fuck. Priceless. The girls of Hooking Up Smart raked me over the coals for having such low class as to actually have sex with strippers. Yeah, ladies who are beautiful who take off their clothes for men for money fucking me for free perish the thought. Such a low opinion of me they had that they debated if I was even worth going out with on a date if they knew I'd been with those strippers. My 12 years of hell were not mitigating enough to allay the stigma. Those dirty low-class strippers. Strippers who treated me as more human than the woman I actually loved, even the crazy one who stabbed her mother. The knowledge of me banging strippers actually played to my advantage pre-selection and allowed me to once again hook up with my ex-girlfriend who later became my wife. She seemed to enjoy quizzing me every so often as to how she compared to those ladies of the night, as she called them, always seeking validation that she stacked up and cut the mustard. And much sexual satisfaction was to be had for a nice long time. Of course, that was until the wife became unhappy with my reversion to beatitude and showed me the door. That's when I finally delved into the realm of the internet and discovered about game, dominance, attraction triggers, evil psych, MRAs, PUAs, the manosphere. All the pretty lies perished like dominoes falling in unison. With the knowledge I acquired, the discipline of weight training and building up a body I am proud of and not ashamed of, learning how to be social, burying the beta and believing in my worth, I finally am at a point in my life where I have changed my views and outlook. I am not ruled by pussy. I conquer it on my terms or leave it to its own useless fate. I've adopted a make-toe lifestyle. Do things with myself in mind first and foremost, following my own imperative. Will only entertain relationships with women who qualify themselves to me by bringing more to the table than pretty looks and a vagina. Else they just get a pump and dump. The ability to not blink when I destroyed my final toxic LJBF zone relationship with an emotional vampire who expected all the benefits of relationship without returning what I needed. 5 years ago, I'd have been in my room crying over it or worse, apologizing to her for hurting her feelings. Today, I stand tall and say fuck it. My own needs and interests come first before anyone else, and I'm ready to move on to find one who desires and deserves all the awesomeness I have to give. I don't care how angry she got or how any feminist might say I just played nice to get in her pants. I'm through playing nice. I'm built, confident, nothing left to prove, cannot be persuaded by the power of pussy, and doing what I like for myself. I don't fall on my sword for the needs of others. Look to thine own ass first is the credo. It was a long and painful, fuckless road for me. One I wish I didn't have to go down. But I don't get a mulligan. There are no redos. There is no respawn. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I'm still here. So I pause, reflect, introspect, identify, analyze, and correct where I went wrong in the attempt to never repeat the same mistakes, those fucking blue pill mistakes ever again. It's called learning and personal growth. Evolution is a painful and messy affair. But I'm feeling much better now. Though if you insist on bringing up your dry spell story around me, just try to ignore the pain face I'm making as I envision you getting caught in a fire that melts your face off like the creepy black-hatted dude in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so then you'll know what a real dry spell is. You haven't a fucking clue what a dry spell is. Some may say this was one long pitiful rant. Meh. You could be right, but I feel it needed to be told. This tale of misery to triumph. As I see it, my part in this tale is over. My chapter is done. I'm too old to do anything about it now. You can't go back. All I can do is keep my promise to not expend my valued time, energy, or resources propping up a happy, had her fun with alphas and now settled with beta bucks little old Moy. Nope. I'm going lone wolf alpha and enjoying the rest of my life on my terms as I see fit. This isn't about me anymore. It's about the next me, who's in high school or college right now, who's sitting in his room alone at night wondering why some girl he really likes and treats well is off fucking some dude she just met at the bar, who's being ignored because of rampant hypergamy, inflated egos, and Facebook attention whores who vastly overrate their sex rank and will be lining up to get slaughtered by PUAs and frat boys, only to go to complain to that poor, introverted, Incel beta LJBF in training that all men are assholes and how if only she could find someone like him. I want to break the endless cycle of suffering and teach these kids in high school to tell these evil leeches to go fuck themselves. Break the LJBF. Work out. Build some mass. Educate yourself. Ignore the bitches and focus on yourself instead of chasing them and inflating their egos. You'll be better off in the long run and well ahead of the game. And you don't have to worry about me. I keep it at P90X style. Keep my body tight. I keep socializing. I keep looking for that diamond in the rough. I won't reward entitled bitches with mind-blowing orgasms but leave them to their pump and dump fates. I look 10,000 times better than I did before and can dark game tight young strippers again if I so choose. I have an open relationship, married girl on the side. Married ladies seem to love me. Why? I'm throwing innuendo at anything that's got long legs and a vagina. I have the power to banish anything that flakes or cold shoulders me. I do not yield an inch to the power of pussy, and I've discovered a new form of game that works for what I'm looking for in a woman. I call it atheist game, soon to be post for my religious friends' readers. Let's just say the cute, chastity, and loyal, good-looking girl I'm looking for is easier to spot when you play yourself as the devil and they don't fail. This is what I want most. Reading the rawness made me realize I will not heal my soul by going on a pump and dump spree, nor make me a better person. No band-aids on fatal wounds. Moving on to Red Pill style. Epilogue. So now you know where my cynicism and rage comes from. Now you know why it's not a healthy idea for me to man up and marry a slut. Now you know why I hate feminism and its evil ideology. Now you know why I view slutty behavior as I do. Now you know why I intrinsically never believe what women say at face value. I only follow what they do. Now you know why feminists call me a woman hater and a misogynist. The funny thing is, I practice feminism to the letter, and by treating women as human beings and respecting them as prescribed. I loved women and cared for women. I did all those nice things not simply to get into their pants, but because I was a decent human being, a human male, and someone who wanted to get into a loving relationship with a woman. And by loving women the way feminism asked, I was nearly destroyed for it. Misogyny. No child was ever born with it. And here's an ethical question for you to ponder. Yeah, no one is entitled to pussy. But for all those guys who have trouble mating due to hypergamy gone wild, or as I call, the new normal, what should we do with them? Euthanize them? I'm sure there was more I could write into this, but I have to let it go at this point, and your eyes are probably bleeding as are mine. I hope this post isn't going to haunt me. If it keeps one young guy from taking a swan dive off a tall bridge, my work here is done. I just hope I don't wake up thinking in my best Londo Molari voice, "Great Maker, what have I done?"